I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Silly Jedi! Silly Jedi!
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
Hello, what have we here?
Hello there.
At last! Where have you been?
Nice of you guys to drop by.
Ah, good. New acquisitions.
I don't know. I have a bad feeling about this.
Hey everybody, welcome to Star Wars Car Talk. I'm Maurice Mercado from Jedi Toy Masters, and whoa, have we got a show today. I don't know what whoa means, but that's how excited I am for Mandalorian Season 2 thus far. Last week we talked about the first episode of Season 2, which is technically episode or Chapter 9, right? I think they're going by chapters. Chapter 9, the Marshal. Well, this week we got Chapter 10. And in the excitement of Chapter 10, I totally forgot what the name of Chapter 10 was. So I'm going to insert the name of Chapter 10 right down here, but that's what Chapter 10 is of The Mandalorian Season 2. And what was really cool, right off the gate, by the way, spoiler alert, we will be talking about The Mandalorian. So if you have not seen The Mandalorian Chapter 10, I recommend that you watch it. And if you're listening to us and you don't have Disney Plus, or you're I don't know how it works in other parts of the world, when do they get these episodes, but I do apologize for that. You can just skip on ahead and skip this episode, I guess, because we're going to be talking spoilers here at The Mandalorian. It's Star Wars. It's Star Wars Car Talk. We can't talk Star Wars, especially right now. It's fall. It's becoming a tradition now. We got right after we got Halloween, October, and then November hits, and we have Thanksgiving, and boy, do we have a lot to be thankful for. This has quickly become the November Thanksgiving tradition of being thankful for Star Wars, because every Thanksgiving season we're gonna get Mandalorian. At least we are so far. We got it last fall, and here we are again. And especially after the crazy 2020 that we've had so far, oh man, it's so great to be able to have this to look forward to. Put things into perspective as far as just wanting to have some kind of entertainment release, something enjoyable to be able to watch, and that's exactly what Mandalorian is. So we're so happy. I'm so happy, and despite what's happened here in the United States with the election and everything, it's good to know that there's some things that we can count on, and at least we can count on there being Star Wars. And so anyway, Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 10, Chapter 10, we pick up right where Chapter 9 left off, which I thought was rather interesting. That it kind of seemed like, at least, well, I guess you can say that last season a lot of the episodes kind of took place immediately after each other. But for some reason, I don't know why, but this episode just felt a little bit like Ryan Johnson-ish. Like you just whoa, okay, oh, so this is right after the last episode. Okay. But it was fine. I think, like I said, last season you had that. It just didn't, I don't know, it just felt different. But not different bad, just different. So here we are, we jump right in. Mandalorian, he's on his speeder bike with his chunk of meat strapped to the back, and he's on his way back to the ship. And here we go, we get these scavengers, which at first, when I saw that they were setting up a trap, and it kind of alludes to the fact that they're setting up this trap for him, my mind immediately went to, oh my gosh, we're going to get Boba Fett right off the bat. we saw Boba Fett at the end of the last episode, and now all of a sudden we see like these dudes setting up a trap for him. These dudes are working with Boba Fett. Like, wow, we're going to jump right in. We're going to get Boba Fett. But no. It wasn't that. They were just plain old scavenger guys, you know, in the desert, setting up a trap for this guy, you know, just rob him and stuff. It was interesting because one of the characters, one of the characters that was there, I forgot his name, but you definitely saw him in The Force Awakens. He was also on Jakku. Well, his species or whatever was on Jakku. These like weird metal mouth guys. They're kind of like Jawas, but with like metal jaws. They're kind of metal jaws. They're Mawas. That's what I'm coining them. And they set up this trap. Mandalorian flies off his bike. The bike breaks into a billion pieces. The child goes flying and bouncing all over the place. They immediately go and try to get the child, which I thought was interesting. So apparently, like, there must be a known bounty on this thing, on the child, on the baby Yoda. And I just thought that was interesting that right off the bat there's this they're kind of reminding us that the Mando having the child he's putting himself in danger, and there's still forces out there that want this little critter, this little womp rat. So of course Mandalorian is able to hold his own. He beats those guys up, and he tricks the little metal mouth Jawa Mawa to release the child, and he would give him his jetpack. And that was just hysterical. He's running off with the jetpack. Mando activates it, sends him flying into the air, and you just see this dude's body just hit the desert full force. Terminal velocity, I think, is what they call that. So that was a nice little cold opening for this chapter, for this episode. And then, we see the man. You would think that it would like cut to him, like back on the ship. Like he gets to the ship. He eventually gets to the ship or whatever. But no, we stick with him. We just stick with him almost in real time. We just stick with him. He is now walking through the desert carrying the child and all his equipment and everything, and oh my gosh, he finally gets to Mos Eisley and gets back and goes to the cantina, which we get another nice little shot of the cantina, and there's Amy Sedaris, and she's playing cards with a giant cricket or cockroach man, grasshopper man. And he's, she's playing sabacc, and we see the cards, which is pretty awesome. And, long story short, she wins the hand, and he has to tell, he tells the Mando that he knows somebody that knows a Mando, knows a Mandalorian. So it's like, I know a guy who knows a guy. Long story short, in order for the Mando to get this information, he has to help this female frog lady with her canister full of frog eggs to this planet, which I'm assuming is going to be the planet that we saw in the trailer, which was like the water planet where you see the Mon Calamari on, and you see him on a boat, and you see him on the docks, and then you see the character that I believe, totally think that's Sabine that we saw in the trailer. It's this female wrestler from WWE who was cast as this mysterious cloaked character. I think that's Sabine, but we'll see. We'll find out. Maybe she's a Mandalorian. But anyway, Mando has to, give this girl an Uber ride to that planet, and that on that planet, her husband knows of the Mandalorian that's there. So we get on this little adventure. The child is like trying to open up that canister every chance he can get, and he I don't know how many eggs he eats from the canister. It's crazy. I don't know how this mom, frog mom, doesn't realize, you would think she would kind of have count of how many eggs were in there. And she's like, wait a second, there's like 5 eggs missing. What's going on? Because the child ate a lot of those eggs throughout this episode. It was just like ridiculous. Even at the end, there's a callback to it, and it's hilarious. Anyway, so the catch is they have to fly, regular speed. They can't they can't hyperdrive there for some reason, and I forgot what the reason that they give, but it's just kind of like glossed over. Can't hyperdrive there. You got to go regular speed. So Mando takes a nap. First time we see Mando hop into his little bunker, his little bunk beds that he has, and hop in there and take a nap. Which answers the question: does the Mando change at all, or hop into some pajamas when he? But no, he does not. He does not have pajamas. He does not have a change of clothes. Like, he basically just hops in there full Mandalorian armor. Like, he does not take that stuff off. Like, the guy that Mando must really have an odor to him, that a musk that that's probably that's part of the charm of being a Mandalorian. But man, because the guy, all the adventures he's been on, I don't think we didn't see him wash up after he came out of the crate dragon last episode, and he was covered in slime, acidy slime, and yet, that's like stomach acid from the crate dragon, and he didn't. Nope, I didn't see him take a bath. And here we are, and then he got wrestling around in the desert. He walked in the desert in the heat with that helmet on. His head must smell like your finger when you take the Band-Aid off after 10 days. That's how his head must smell underneath that helmet. But and what about facial hair? Like, does the Mando shave? Haircuts? Does he give himself haircuts? Because at some point the hair is going to start to come down the mask. But anyway, these are just questions that pop into my head because you see him hop into his little twin bed and take a nap. He takes a nap, but then he's awakened by the alerts that go off on his ship because there's two X-wing patrol ships come on each side of him, kind of like, hey, what are you doing out here? And that was just such a funny, interesting exchange. And of course, one of them is Dave Filoni. We get a little callback to his character, Captain Wolf, because he's that's his call sign is Captain Wolf. And the other character, I was trying to figure out who that was. Later on, I find out that he is actually he's like a regular guy. He's a member of the 501st, and he gets to be in Star Wars. He even has lines. Like, he has more lines than Dave Filoni in this episode. And this amazing guy who does a lot of work with the 501st, he got to be in this episode, and I thought that was just so cool. Like, what a way for for them to give back to the Star Wars community, especially the 501st, who have done so much for the community, and have this guy in the episode like that. That's just amazing, because I'm sure everyone in the 501st community knows who this guy is, recognize him. So anyway, it's this guy right here. I'll put him right there. So anyway, we have some funny exchanges, and the Mando kind of does his... Mando kind of turns into Han Solo here with the, oh, hey, hi, yeah, no, how are you? Like, it was pretty funny. He was channeling his inner Han Solo there. That was pretty interesting. But they keep questioning him about some, registration tags or whatever. Your inspection's expired here, and one of your taillights is out. You're going to get that fixed. You're going to have to pull over here, and we're going to have to check that out. So he pulls a fast one. He tries to escape, and it messes. He ends up crash landing on this ice planet that he happens to be flying by. Now, I don't know. Maybe is this Hoth? Maybe it's Hoth. I don't know. But it's an ice planet. Maybe it's the planet where the First Order build the Starkiller base. Maybe, because there's a lot of craters in there and all these canyons, and but he crash lands on there, and the Razor Crest. Good grief! I mean, this ship gets demolished so many times, and yet he is able to put this thing back together. It's quite fitting that the Razor Crest, that you can buy it as a Lego set nowadays, because that is definitely what it is. The Razor Crest is a Lego set that just constantly pieces are just falling off it, and you're just like, wait, I thought I put this together. How? What in the you? What? So, but anyway, he crash lands, and that's when this episode's true adventure begins, because now they're kind of trapped in this ice cave. And, you get some cute moments of, well, we got to camp out here. You have the frog girl. She's like she actually figures out how to activate that assassin droid that apparently the Mando still has in his ship from last season. And she activates it and uses it as a translation tool, which I thought was really cool, very creative, and is able to communicate with him and let him know the severity of the situation, and that she really needs to get to that planet, and that you're a Mandalorian. Like, she throws that in his face. You're a Mandalorian, and I heard that Mandalorians are they do what they say what they do. They're man of their word. And ooh, she hits him where it hurts. Right underneath the best car. And so he gets to work fixing the ship. But the very elusive, the child, he goes off and starts wandering, and so does she. So she finds that pool. She finds a hot spring in the middle of this ice cave, which I thought was kind of funny. And then that leads to these shenanigans where we find these eggs, and it turns out that they're spider eggs. Now, what was really cool about the spider egg scene, for those of you that have eagle eyes, and I'm sure on social media there's been tons of images now, is that's the spider, and those little spider eggs that we see, that's from a Ralph McQuarrie painting, which I thought was oh man, that's so cool. I think it might have been I think the idea was that spider was going to be on Dagobah, or maybe it was in an ice cave on Hoth, but it's just amazing. It's so cool that they're taking stuff from the original trilogy, especially art from Ralph McQuarrie that maybe was never used, and really just bringing all that stuff back to life, because all that is of the Star Wars universe. I mean, even things that maybe were thought of and ideas and they were put on paper but never used, that's all fair game. That's Star Wars. And so it's really cool that they're using that. I mean, at this point, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, man, they just love those deep cuts, man. They love just really, really digging into the meat and bone of Star Wars. So that was really cool. And so all of a sudden this episode turns into a horror show, a horror movie, because man, these spiders start coming out of nowhere, and they're jumping out of the eggs, and they start attacking, and oh my gosh, it's the child ate one. It's just heebie-jeebies all over the place with the those of you that are arachnophobics. I mean, this episode is gonna just make you go crazy. So they get to this ship, and it's one of those situations. It's like a horror movie. All hope is lost, man. These things are coming out of. They make their way to the cockpit, of the ship, and they're trying to keep themselves in there, and the spiders keep attacking, and then all of a sudden you hear laser blast outside the ship. Oh my gosh, they've been saved by who? And it turns out the two X-Wing pilots that were on patrol find where they are. They land. I thought that was really cool that they land. They're like sheriffs, man. They're patrolmen, man. They land their ship, and they pop out of the top of their cockpits and start firing at all of these spiders, and they basically wipe them all out. And I thought that was really cool that we finally get to see, we only got to see X-Wing fighters in space, and and then we see Luke basically land on Dagobah and jump out of the X-Wing and jump back into the X-Wing. But to see an X-Wing pilot land his ship, open up his hatch, and like guns blazing, basically come out and start firing and shooting at these spiders, you know, with their kind of like, you know, with their laser blaster rifles or whatever. That was just so cool to just to see that, you know. So it's like we get all these really cool Star Wars moments that we've never really seen. We know that happens, you know. We've maybe have seen it and read it in comics, but to see it like in live action form was just so cool. Just so many cool little moments, and I think that's what makes a live action Star Wars show so special, that you can take the time, because obviously you have an episode to fill with things. You're not worried that the film is going to be too long, or you got to leave things on the cutting room floor or whatever. Like, you get to really play and dig into all these little moments, and those are the little moments that make Star Wars special. Like in the films, those are the little moments. Like, you know, like Empire Strikes Back. You know, when Princess Leia is in that, you know, whatever engine room or whatever in the Millennium Falcon, and she's trying to fix what, you know, she's like soldering something and she's trying to fix or whatever, and then Han Solo comes in and they have their little encounter. Like, just, you know, the couple of seconds leading to their conversation where she's taking the goggles off, putting them on a thing, you know, folding this mechanical thing and putting it back together, and she's having a hard time twisting it. I mean, if you remember the scene, it's just, those are like these little moments that's what you buy into Star Wars. It's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, but like, those are the moments that make Star Wars Star Wars. That it's a real world. You can feel it, you can taste it, you can breathe it. It's dirty, it's grimy, it's real. So it becomes real, and so just these little moments are just so good. All that to say that having two X-Wing pilots come down to save the day with the rifles, and then their exchange with the Mandalorian is priceless, where they're like, you know, they're basically kind of saying like, we heard what you did, meaning like in last season in the prison break episode where he actually ended up entrapping those double crossers. He's like, we heard what you did, and we heard that you were the one that, you know, trapped them, and so it's kind of like, this is one of those like, we're even, you know, now we're even, you know, get your inspection renewed on the Razor Craft so we don't have to pull you over again. We're even, you know. That was like the exchange. I thought that was really, really cool. And of course, Mando goes to work fixing the ship as best he can, and they take off. And we get that shot that we saw in the trailer of the Razor Crest basically like limping in space with the back hatch opened, and it's like sparking or whatever, and they're basically in the cockpit, just enclosed in there. They can't even go into the rest of the ship because there's panels missing and all kinds of stuff happening. So they're just like, they are just inching their way, just, you know, my goodness, like getting, you know, and that's the cliffhanger, which we know they're going to get to where they're going, but, you know, they're limping their way in through space, trying to get to where they're going. You know, that's Star Wars, you know, driving around in a busted ship through space. That was the Millennium Falcon, you know. The hyperdrive didn't work. They're just limping their way through space in their broken ship. And that's so Star Wars that it was a great way to end the episode, because it leaves us thirsty for more, like what's going to happen this week. What's, you know, obviously they're going to get to this planet. All right, so prediction times. Here we go. We get to, and by the way, this episode was directed by Peyton Reed of Ant-Man. So really, really kudos to him, and really cool that they're continuing this you know, they're continuing to bring on these directors, man, to like, I mean, it must be like a dream for these guys to come in, because when would Peyton Reed be able to direct something Star Wars? You know what I mean? Like, to direct a film is such a big endeavor and such a big process, and there's so much at stake and so many things. Like the fact that they can bring on these directors to direct each of these episodes, it's like so amazing. You know, and for them, I could just imagine, I'm putting myself in the shoes of, you know, a director like a Peyton Reed who, you know, you directed Ant-Man and Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and that you get that call and you're like, hey, you want to direct an episode of The Mandalorian? Like, oh my gosh, yes. Like, these guys must be like on cloud 9 doing this and having so much fun, and it shows. I mean, it shows on the screen. So that was really cool. And so predictions for next week, I would say, is we are definitely going to get, I think, they arrive on this planet that we saw in the trailer, the planet where they end up having to, you know, ride in a boat and hitch a ride on a boat in the storm, and they get to some dock, and we're gonna see a lot of the Mon Calamari, and so I think that's gonna be like the that I think next week will be finally like we're gonna push forward in the story. Like I think episode 1 or chapter 9, the Marshal, was basically like, here we go. We're back to business. We're on this quest. It's all about the quest, you know, and, you know, kind of getting distracted with this whole side adventure, helping these people out and getting that Boba Fett armor. And we get that nice, you know, that nice little wink at all the fans, like, hey, Boba Fett's alive. You know, this is not just his armor. He's out there. Will we ever see him again? We don't know, but, you know, we'll see. Stay tuned. And then this episode, just kind of like a continuation of that. And really now getting the story into full gear. Like now we're gonna get to this planet in this next episode, and we're gonna see that mysterious character who I think it's Sabine, or either Sabine or it's a Mandalorian, like from Clone Wars and Rebels, like, you know, one of those Mandos that we saw there that were still loyal to Mandalore. I think we're going to see that, you know, living in hiding and all that stuff. So I think we're finally going to start getting into the meat of the season, pushing the story forward. I think by the end of this coming episode, chapter 11, we probably will be at a place where we've seen like 75% of what we've seen in the trailer. I think probably in a couple episodes after that, we'll get to the Cara Dune stuff, where we see Kargas, and we'll see we'll see the scout troopers, and we'll see although the scout trooper shot that might be in this next episode coming up, but you know, I think we'll get into more of that, and I think we're gonna see. I'm so looking forward to it. Like it's fun to speculate, but I have no idea what's in store. Like, what I think might happen, well, definitely, I think we're gonna get. Like me speculating, my opinion. Not nothing's written in stone here, but we're gonna get Sabine. I think at this point, Sabine and Ahsoka are still out there looking for Ezra. I mean, remember the way Star Wars Rebels ended. Sabine, Hera, for example, Hera has a son. And they helped in the battle in Return of the Jedi. You know, Captain Rex, he was on the Rebels. He was helping on Endor. You saw him. They retconned him in there. And Ahsoka and Sabine, they're off on their quest to find Ezra. You know, and this is now 5 years later. So who knows what could happen? I mean, how amazing would it be if we not only see Ahsoka and Sabine, but if we actually get to see Ezra, like a live action Ezra, you know, or, you know, seeing Ahsoka and Sabine in this season of The Mandalorian, it could set up a spin-off either show or a spin-off movie about Ezra. You know, remember, Ezra's still out there. Thrawn is still out there, you know, and there's a lot of story that can be told there. I mean, doesn't have to be in animated form. You know, now that we see the Mandalorian success and we see how you can do these characters in live action, you know, I mean, the sky's the limit, guys. So it's really, really exciting to be a fan right now, especially with this show and just how great this show is. I mean, you can tell that it's just really a labor of love. And what blows my mind time and time again, and it did with last week's episode, The Marshal. We were on Tatooine. We saw a crate dragon. We saw these landscapes, and we saw the desert, and we saw sand people, and all this stuff. And this show is being shot in like a back lot in LA, guys. They're using that 3D screen technology in a studio, in like a warehouse. And if it wasn't for the fact that we knew it by watching the behind the scenes stuff, I mean, if we would, it totally can be a film. This could totally pass in film. For those out there that are saying, well, you know, the technology's not there yet, like, you know, I mean, like, listen, J.J. Abrams for Rise of Skywalker, he brought a green screen to the desert in like Jordan or wherever they filmed that planet, and you know, they filmed all this stuff in the desert and these landscapes, and okay, it's beautiful when you see it on screen, but maybe they could have saved a few dollars, shot all this stuff the way the Mandalorian is being shot. It'll look just as epic, and they could have used that money and put it in story. Anyway, it all comes back to the sequel trilogy, but the fact that they're able to pull this show off and quote unquote on a budget, I mean, compared to what they spent on a film, this is like, you know, this is nothing. This is peanuts. So what they can do on this budget is amazing, and I'm just so blown away by it. And I hope this continues. I definitely think, at the very least, we will have a third season of The Mandalorian, because I can't see them ending it at just 2 seasons. You know what I mean? Like, they just can't have just 2 seasons. I mean, I've said it before, Star Wars, we're so used to the cycle of 3s. You know, you have, you know, even Clone Wars. I mean, it ended, they abruptly ended it at season 5, only to then bring it back for a season 6, so that you have a nice even number. You know, you have 6 seasons, you know, 3 and 3. You know, the one show that they did not do that with was Star Wars Rebels. Star Wars Rebels ended at, 4 seasons? But still, Star Wars Rebels was a very contained story, very contained show. And I mean, they could have gone another season probably. Even Star Wars Resistance, the animated show, that's only 2 seasons. Although you never know, they might do a third. I think it'd be interesting if Star Wars Resistance did a 3rd season. But I'm getting ahead of myself. This it's just so fun to be a fan right now. It's just so much fun. I mean, my Friday nights now they're booked. I mean, we do Friday night movie night, pizza and movie night at a Jedi Toy Master house, and you know, now we've been doing basically, you know, we got our Mandalorian every night, and what we did last Friday was we actually rewatched The Marshal, Chapter 9, and right before we watched the new episode. And I think that's a kind of a cool thing to be able to do, because now if you watch the previous episode and then you watch the new one, it's like you're watching a full-length Star Wars movie every week. You know, that's the other thing. These episodes, I mean, they're basically an hour long. That's amazing. You watch 2 episodes back to back. That's a Star Wars film right there. And how cool would it be if at some point, maybe like an Alamo Draft House, or, you know, some of these theaters that screen movies and things that are alternative to the big blockbuster films or the big budget films or whatever. If some of these theaters, especially now that theaters are starting to reopen, imagine if a theater hosted, like, hey, we're doing a Mandalorian season 1, you know, theatrical screening. You know, Like, how cool would that be? So anyway, what'd you guys think of chapter 11? And again, I can't remember the name. I'm gonna put it right here. Chapter 11 of season 2 of The Mandalorian. What did you guys think? I'm super pumped. I love that character, the frog lady. That's such a cool character, especially when they were running away from the spiders. The way she was like, forget this running with 2 feet. I'm gonna use all 4. And she starts like hopping like a frog to get ahead. I thought that was really cool. We got a couple of really funny shots of the child running. I think that was adorable. You never see the child's feet, so it's just this little tiny thing moving around. And you know, I think there's a charm to the fact that the child is not CG. It's a puppet, and even in those little movements that you see of it scurrying on the floor, you can tell that it's a puppet, and they're not really trying to hide it much that it's a puppet. It is what it is. It's a puppet. So I thought that was really cool. And anyway, guys, I'm gonna let it go here. What you guys think? Let us know. Hit us up on Instagram at Star Wars Card Talk. That's where we post most of our episodes. If you don't catch them in podcast form or on our YouTube channel, Jedi Toy Masters. You can also hit us up on Jedi Toy Masters on Instagram, and again on YouTube. And yeah, it's exciting to be a fan right now. I'm super pumped. I'm super excited. And if you also want to email us any questions, you can do so at JediToyMasters@gmail.com. That's right there. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and it's just too much fun to be a fan right now. So I'm so happy. I don't know what else to say except remember,
The Force will be with you, always.